You made it, Chantal, great. Just at the end of the meeting, wonderful.
Hey, thanks. How are you?
Hello, hello.
Well, everybody's coming in, that's fine. I would say, Chantal, if there's one more coming in, then you can start.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, HJ. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. So I think what we started last week was just to start with a bit of around the table, just open up to anyone who wants to contribute something or share something from the past week that they wanted to highlight. A couple of things that I put on the agenda for today is how to reward for work. That was one of the key things that was discussed as issue number 318 on GitHub. So I thought it might be interesting to continue that conversation here. I saw, and I think HJ, this must have been you who added in the payments for January work, and then potentially talk about the translation issues, because I know we finished with that last week when we were running out of time, but it seemed that there was quite a bit of interest on this topic. So I added that in to discuss for about 10 minutes. So before we touch on that, is there anyone who wants to share something from last week? No one? All right. If there is no one who wants to discuss anything, then let's move on to point number 2, how to reward for work. This was quite a good discussion happening on GitHub. I put some points down that some of the members made. So DCKC said that reward for completed work only, and base budgets on results rather than effort. And then Flowpoint, Veraculous, and P. Mormon joined in as well and gave a couple of points. I don't know if there's anyone who, if DCKC is on the line and he wants to share a bit of that. I don't think he's online. I think there's only 4 or 5 of us, isn't there?
I assume because some people are traveling and getting ready for this event. Now we got a 6th.
Yeah. All right. Was there anyone else who, because I think anyone who contributed to that issue, I don't think any of them are online. Was there anyone who wanted to share their opinion on this?
Rewarding for so rewarding for correctness, or I guess not effort, rewarding for completion rather than effort seems like the right way, because we need complete, correct work done, not lots of work done. But I guess there's a balance everywhere.
Yeah, I think it's about quality, speed, and effort, and a lot of trust also. So we have to see how we can measure efforts and rewards. And what also comes into question is if there's a return on the time spent. So, for example, we have a Telegram group of about 1,500 people now. At a certain time, you can ask a reward for that, a result for that. So it could be interesting for marketing purposes for other companies, for example, to post messages in this channel, and they could pay for that. So they have a return.
Yeah, and I think that definition of value is probably key. And I think that's something that we discussed last week as well. How do we define that?
And yeah, and it's also about languages, for example. If you have a certain dialect and there's not a big population, then you have to see if it's if the same effort is rewarded in the same way. For example, you could compare Russian to Dutch, and I think the added value of translating into Russian is much more interesting than translating things into Dutch, because most people speak English, so the added value is not so big. So you can reward people like that also. But so that depends on what kind of budgets we set on certain issues. And you can scale it down or you can scale it up. That's up to everybody.
So I know we do a percentage, like so let's say a translation $5,000. Are we keeping track of how long it's taking people to do this hour-wise? It'd be interesting to see what it takes. You know, there's 5 different translation projects and all of them take about 20 hours. It's good to be able to see that and know how to adjust compensation. Or if someone said it only took me 3 hours, it may point out that maybe something was wrong.
So I think it's all up to the team who translates it. And they have to go over the budget distribution. So I don't think we have to quantify hours and that the manager says, well, you get so much and you get so much and things like that. It has to be solved within the team.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay, and AJ, do you want to give an overview of the table that you dropped into the agenda? I assume it was you?
Yeah, I dropped the table of rewards into the agenda, so everybody can see how much the other one earns, in fact. So that's complete radical transparency. And it should be a guideline for other people to adjust their rewards and budgets. So you can have a look at it and then, yeah. If you don't agree with certain things, then you can add it into comments. And if you think somebody dysfunctions, then you can also say that in comments. So that's why I put it there.
You mean add it into the agenda here or in the spreadsheet?
No, in the comments of the GitHub. So you can look up a certain issue. And if you think somebody earns too much for it or so, then you can write a comment about it.
Has anyone done that yet?
Well, it happens more under the table. So I get mails from, for example, Chinese people. They don't agree with the reward for somebody of Africa and things like that. So I prefer that to be open and that those people, so everybody can read it and somebody can defend himself also for argument, giving arguments for why it is like it is.
Well, if we know the amount of words in a video, we know an average rate, let's say an average rate for that language translation, can we then, I guess, pick the price? I mean, how is it currently?
Yeah. So a guideline is what the European committee uses. It's 20 cents per word. And then from the English, you count the English words and then you multiply that by 20 cents. And then you have an indication for the budget.
Okay.
But it depends which language, you know. I mean, we cannot, it's not useful to translate it into 200 languages. So,
that is correct.
Yeah. But I think this will be becoming more and more guidelines how to do this setting of budgets. And also about the rewards, because we have now more and more people coming in, and like that, rules can be made stricter, I would say. Yeah.
AJ, slightly off topic maybe, but with regards to the rewards, I know Greg gave an X amount of rock to be distributed. What happens when that runs out, or is there a way to replenish that, or is there new rock being added to the pool when certain events occur? How does that work?
Yeah, so that's an interesting subject, because I will give a presentation at the governance meeting, and there I propose a budget for this year. And I guess we need about 10 million rocks. 10 million, 10 million rocks. And I think in the end of the year we will have about 3,000 collaborators. So, and when the board agrees, or Greg agrees with this amount, then we are nicely set up, I think. And at the moment, there's not a lot of budgeting done. He says, well, go ahead. Here you have 1 million rock and you can distribute it as you want. And in fact, it is unlimited, but you need to plan a bit ahead. So I made certain calculations and I came up with these amounts.
Okay, thank you. So is he going to decide there and then?
Yeah, I want to finish my presentations with a few decision points. That's like how much budget do we get for this kind of community work? And can we go on, and are we on the good way, and so things like that. So I think Saturday we will know more about how much rock we have for rewarding people.
Great, thank you for that. All right, I think we can move on to point number 4. We're moving quite quickly with a few people here. So like I said in Greg's debrief, the end of last week's meeting, There's a really good point made about the quality of the translated videos and documents, because some people use Google Translate, which obviously didn't really provide us with the quality that we're looking for. So there was an issue opened on GitHub asking what documents should be translated to what language. HA, to your earlier point, is it valuable to have 200 different languages that we need to translate everything into? Probably not. So what do we need to identify which languages, and how can we ensure quality? And I think one of the solutions that was proposed for this was to use native speakers. So, which I think is a really good idea, but it's about finding those native speakers as well.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I think anybody can raise an issue for translating in any language, but then it's up to the people who are interested in this issue to vote about the budget. So it could be possible that somebody raises an issue and that the budget will be still zero. And that means that he still can do this work, but he won't get a reward for it. I think that's a nice control mechanism for making decisions about which languages have to be translated. And of course, it has to be a very good quality. And Google Translate is not good enough. So, but these discussions about quality that can be done on the subject itself, on the issue itself.
Because I think someone also opened an issue about organizing what needs to be translated, which I thought was a really good point, because now there's lots of issues flying around for translating different things. And I'm not sure, I might be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's anywhere where we can clearly see what has been translated and into what language.
Yeah, that's wonderful. If we can have an overview of what is being translated, and then you see the most popular documents or videos, and then that can be a guideline for people what to translate first. So I don't know who came up with this issue, but I'm happy that it will be worked out.
Has there been any discussion about translating the co-op site so that maybe there's a language setting when you first get there and can swap through multiple languages?
Well, there should be a possibility to choose the language that you want, but and this has to be an organized effort. So all the things that have to be translated, that, yeah, I don't know how it can be organized, but of course the website should be in different languages. And then we have also maybe we can leave it also free, so that you can have per country a website that is not run by the co-op, but by a couple of people that like. So you get a multiple subjective view of RChain. And that can be wildly different. If you take, for example, the Chinese website, it has nothing to do with the original website that has been made. So I think that's a nice way to go to.
What is the RChain Chinese website? rchain.cn?
I have to look it up. I don't know it by heart.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, having separate member-run websites for the other languages.
Yeah, it's something what happened like on Telegram and on WeChat and things like that. And I raised also an issue of give your own impression about RChain, tell in your own words what you like and not like and so. So you have different views on what happens with RChain. It's maybe too much out of control, but I think it's a nice way to try.
Got to spread it out there. The US will not be the first country to adopt cryptocurrency, so the targets need to be the countries that will adopt cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, it has to be a worldwide platform. So how do you reach acceptance worldwide? That's the question.
Make the product known.
Yeah, and I think make the product known goes best by friend to friend, mouth to mouth.
With regards to the quality of the translated pieces, as well as the potentially the different websites, AJ, you said there are different Telegram channels for each country. So is it worth reaching out to those people? Or I don't know if anyone's leading the particular country Telegram channels, but we could potentially reach out to those people to help us with the overall translation and the websites as well.
Yeah, it's a very good idea. So I would say go ahead with it. Getting in touch with the people of the Telegram and WeChat and etc.
How is there a way where we can find who runs those?
I think it's you can have it on the group information on each chat channel. So in the Netherlands, it's Kit Blake, for example, who runs a lot of things. And in France, there's no real admin at the moment. And in China, it's Mervin 58, I think. So, yeah. But it would be nice to get some overview of what's happening and what the channels are. And there are spreadsheets for it. They say what different channels are used and who's responsible for it. So that could be a good way.
Which spreadsheets are that? You mean the ones we use for the payments?
No, it's a different spreadsheet. I will put it tomorrow into the agenda.
Okay, thank you. All right. Sorry. Was there anything else anyone wanted to discuss? We're running ahead of schedule. That never happens.
Yeah, that's very nice. I think one item is I've seen the hangout tonight, and I know it's extremely difficult to get into to get some attention for our group. And I appreciate your effort for it, Chantal. But as Greg said, you have to interrupt him and shut up, Greg. I want to tell our group now. So.
Yeah, I will do that next week.
When do you get into town? You're in town now, HJ?
Oh, sorry?
When do you arrive in Seattle?
Oh, I won't arrive. I give an online presentation.
Ah, okay.
So it will be a Zoom meeting of half an hour, and then I will do my presentation and drink some wine here.
Easy.
All right. Is there anything else, or are we going to keep it to a 30-minute meeting today?
The shirt.
Well, I have a question to Jake about the voting system. Is there still something going on there, or?
Hey, yeah, I mean, there's stuff going on. I am sort of not quite sure exactly what we want to be using a voting system for. Once we sort of have a use case defined, I have a lot of ideas of how to move forward. I'm giving a lightning talk on properties of secure voting systems. Hopefully that will drive discussion going forward about sort of what types of properties we need for certain types of votes and what sort of systems that we could put in place. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. But Jake Gilbert, he made also a voting system for the issues to give it more or less urgency, and so you could vote by.
Sorry, this is Jake Gilbert. I'm in the same room as Brandon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that GitHub voting extension, yeah, it still exists. We could still go live with it if we wanted, if we think it would be useful.
Well, I think it's useful. I would make it into a productive version and go ahead with it.
Okay, sounds good. I will follow up on that then.
Wonderful.
HJ, this is Brandon. Can we chat on Discord after this for a sec? If you're free. If not, we can do it another day.
Yeah, let's postpone it to tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah, great.
Sounds good. That's all on my end. And I guess Jake's end.
One thing I was thinking about, and I think with the exception of today, but I know usually there's always a lot of things that we want to discuss and a lot of discussion, which is great. Is there a way, or do you guys have any thoughts on how we can sort of get some sort of voting system into the agenda to make sure that we discuss the points that are most interested to the majority of the people attending the meeting? If that makes sense. So if we have, let's say, 10 points that we want to discuss, that prior to having our meeting, there's a way that people can vote what things they think are most important, and we can make sure that we order the agenda points accordingly.
Yeah, I think the first goal is to get people to the document, the agenda. So because most people are not aware of this document, and we can promote it into Discord or in Telegram, etc. And then maybe every week we make a new issue where the agenda items are posted as well, and there they can put smileys or thumbs down, thumbs up, things like that.
That seems reasonable and simple.
All right, let's give that a try. And that might also be a good way for people to add things to the agenda as well. So get a bit more interaction.
Yeah.
Are you a member?
This,
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Brenda.
Are you a member yet, Chantel?
Yes, I am. I'm just waiting for my face-to-face video call.
Okay, perfect. Perfect.
How long? Because I remember about 2 or 3 weeks ago that was raised in one of the meetings as well, that someone had been waiting for that. Do we know? I know Navneet isn't here, and he generally leads it. But does anyone know how long it generally takes for someone to go through the entire process?
You just have to message Ian or Navneet on Discord, and then they will be able to immediately verify you.
Great. But generally, like, I know that now because you told me, but generally people wouldn't necessarily know that. Is there a way for them to, is that mentioned anywhere?
That's a good question. I haven't gone up through the sign-in process in a while, so I'm not sure that it notifies anyone. I almost feel like it's almost let up to the members to ask about it, but I don't know because I haven't signed up in, 7 months or so. So
I personally didn't get any notification or email to invite me to verify. But I just kept on asking, just like you're asking, and then I got around it. But like Brandon said, I think that should change.
It definitely should. It should be brought up at the member meeting tomorrow and one of those days.
Yeah, what I was going to suggest is if they've got a slot, like different time slot, then you pick whichever one you're going to be available, and then there should be someone who's going to do the verification. And that was why in the other meeting I attended, I mentioned how do we intend to scale when we're thinking of having 10,000 members, right? If the process is this slow, what happens when we get to 10,000? And we don't want to get into a position where people pay the $20 and they cannot do their verification within a week or 2 weeks. That's just a long time, right? And then you don't want to get in the news for people who do not understand the system and the challenges of the system to, start tongue-lashing the system.
You are very, very correct. So that's a very, very valid point. I wonder the same thing, and it will be interesting to see how it is solved. And it will probably be a discussion of upcoming meetings as well. It can be brought up at the governance forum. So
I also understand the issue of kind of privacy and saying all documentations, they don't want to let it go outside of the current guys who run this thing. But this process cannot be driven by Ian alone. I was also thinking if there's a way they could do like a background check, even if it's for someone who's local, whatever conditions they want to make. And then someone can sign up to say every 2 hours, every day, I've got time to do verification for X number of people. That makes sense, right? So we could get a lot of things, going out the door. But I don't know how to bridge that conversation or who is really in charge. Is it Ian? Ian does the verification, but is he the one in charge? Or
him and Navneet are in charge. Navneet's very busy. So I would say Ian is probably the person in charge right now, verification.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of workload. If I get to meet Ian in person during the governance meeting, I probably will speak to him if he needs help and he needs to run like a background check. That's fine. And then, I could sign up to like be a verifier and then get a lot of the chunk of work done just as a help. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have some trusted verifiers.
Exactly.
It'll probably be something in the future where there's just a group of people who have been vetted and background checked and whatever is required. And those people then are trusted verifiers and will help the community.
I agree with you because the background check and all of that needs to be done because of the sensitivity of the information that's provided.
Good. I'm glad
Yeah.
you're coming. It'll be exciting. You can talk to Ian, and I'm sure this point will be brought up. So I'm glad you're there for the conversation in this, because it is going to be an issue in the future.
Sure.
Makis, are you okay to give an update on that next week then?
An update during the initial meeting?
During our meeting. So this the active members meeting next week.
Oh, okay. Yeah. If I get to talk to Ian, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be available. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. And then we can talk offline. I don't know your handle. I know I see the DCP, but you can
That's
maybe
it.
ping me, or let's have a private chat. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So now that I'm thinking about it, I know that RChain's working on identity. So there's identity groups. And once identity is a actual thing, and there's companies like UTrust, or there's many identity companies, and at a point RChain will integrate with them. So RChain won't be doing all the verifying. If you're verified through one of these identity companies, you can then become a member because you're already verified. So I'm sure in the future we'll have a point where we probably won't be doing the verification ourselves. We'll probably be outsourcing it, but I could be wrong, because once you have a blockchain identity, good to go. So, but we'll see.
Okay, I have one more question. How is it with the t-shirts and the logo?
Oh, look on Discord. I sent you a couple pictures.
And are they going to be distributed on the governance meeting?
I was just going to put them at the front table, and people can just take a shirt as they come. So
wonderful.
They look fantastic. Look at your Discord. I think you'll be very happy.
Okay, I will take a look. Thanks.
Yep.
Brandon, is the gift, so is the t-shirt the gift that they were referring to when I looked at the agenda for the governance program? I heard they're giving away stuff tonight. Is that the t-shirt, or that's still going to be available tomorrow?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm going to try to get there. My girlfriend has all the shirts, so she's going to be there hopefully at 7, and I'll give them out, where the people at the front will just be able to give them out. So everything, you'll have a shirt. Everyone will get a shirt. Everyone who wants a shirt will get a shirt, and there'll be lots of extras. So I'm sure shirts can get shipped out as well to some of the community members all over the world to use and hand out, because there's definitely going to be some extras. So you get it. Everyone gets a shirt. I don't know about gifts, but everyone gets a shirt.
Okay, that's fine. I was just wondering if it was going to go out today or tomorrow.
I will try. I mean, hopefully they can go out today. That'd be great. So I'll be there. If you'll be there tonight, I will be there. It should be very interesting. So I look forward to meeting you. And yeah.
Sure, I can guarantee being there tomorrow, but tonight I'm still thinking about it.
No worries. They'll be available. They'll be there at the front. I'm going to give them to whoever is sitting at I assume there'll be a table for signups, and they will be at that table and yeah.
Okay, great. Well, if nobody has anything else that they want to discuss, I'm happy to give everyone about 15 minutes of their time back.
Sounds a good idea.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Have a
nice day and enjoy the forum for everyone who's going to be there.
Okay, great.
All right, bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.